Alright, ladies and gentlemen and ladies and gents. I don't know if you were able to hear Stevie Wonder in the background or not, because I am sitting outside here in the wonderful Puerto Rico North Shore, next to the Capitol building here in San Juan, Senate building, police station, a bunch of other buildings here in downtown. Well, this is technically not downtown, but let's just call it downtown nonetheless, okay? Alright, wanted to go ahead and explain to some of you a little bit about what's going on so that you can understand how to get yourself freed from the matrix, as it were. This is the way the law works out. The law holds that you, once you came to the age of maturity, or as they put it, the age of majority, which are not the same thing. The same as a person doesn't become mature just because they turn a certain age. They're bringing it on the same premise that a person doesn't attain the age of majority just because of a certain year. But that's not true. See, the age of majority is a natural age, whereas the age of maturity is a, how would you say, symbolic age. Because not everybody's mature at the same time in the same course in life, but reaching the age of majority, everybody reaches that age at the same time. But what they're saying is that you were supposed to know, that you were supposed to let them know that you've reached the age of 18. Now, all of you who are 18, you're doing a pretty good job yourselves. Those of you who are 18, those of you who are 19, those of you who are 20, you can beat the rest of us to the punch, as it were. Now, for those of you who are older than that, don't worry about it. I'll tell you how to be able to achieve getting your status and standing taken care of in just a moment. Everybody's been hearing that they're dealing with corporations, they're dealing with trust, they're dealing with, what is the other thing? Corporations, trust, estates, that they're dealing with stocks, they're dealing with bonds, they're dealing with negotiable instruments, they're dealing with contract, everything is contract. Everybody's been hearing all of this. And all of it is true to a certain extent. Now, I didn't say instinct, or did I say extinct? I said extent. Okay, so all of it is true up to a certain point. Sorry, allergy time, so my throat is very dry. Alright, getting back to all of this. What's going on is they're saying that you, being a part of the human race, that's why every country has an age of maturity act or law in place. The system is present in every country that's a part of the United Nations. We've shown you a little bit of proof of that, but if you don't believe me, just type in Google the age of maturity for Zimbabwe, or Madagascar, or for Germany, or for Russia, or for China, Beijing. Okay, I said Beijing, sorry, Beijing. Okay, just go ahead and type it in and see if they have an age of maturity law in those countries. Why is it important to you, if you don't live in those countries, for you to know that this is universal? That this is not just some new idea, some new teaching, some new invented understanding of law. We went ahead and got access to corpus juris secundum. Corpus meaning body, secundum, and juris meaning body of laws. Corpus juris secundum, body of laws. It's actually an encyclopedia that's used by lawyers and judges. It's just as akin to being similar to America's jurisprudence. Okay? Either way, it contains current case law, but it also contains precedent-setting cases. So it doesn't just contain cases that have been overturned. No, it contains cases that set precedents in law with the Supreme Court of the United States and a consensus with all the other courts. Now you'll hear them say, well, some courts say this, some courts say that. I'm not too concerned about them saying what other courts have ruled and what this court have ruled and what that court have ruled. We're dealing with what the law says. Alright, so the law says that they are trustees. You all know that every public employee, is a trustee. Judges, doctors, lawyers, police officer, bus drivers, they're all trustees. They all serve and provide a fiduciary duty. Now, something you didn't know, as I showed you in the last video, where Brett has finally figured out the matrix. I think that was something similar to the actual title. Well, what I didn't mention to you is that besides bankruptcy court being the court of equity, okay, that's the position the bankruptcy court holds, is being a bank of equity. Some people are saying, well look, if it's the bank of equity, do we file a Chapter 7, Chapter 11, or Chapter 85? You don't file any of those chapters. You go into that court and you put in your proof of claim against not only the United States government, being the entity that is a set of trustees, but you bring it against the trustee of the estate. What you didn't know is that you were sending all of these bills. Sorry, that's my girl. Now, like I said, I don't know if you guys can hear Deborah Cox, but she is really in my ear, and I gotta see if I can turn down the volume a little bit. So, give me 1 second, because the song that's playing is absolutely not. But I don't think it's, yeah, I think that's what she's telling me. You ain't turning no volume down. Absolutely not. So, but I can handle that. The volume is not up that high to where I can't turn it down for me, so that I can be able to focus. Because, as I told you, the videos, I watch them too. So I had to learn the art of focusing while the music was on. But some of the music, I'm sorry y'all, it just makes me want to sing. You know, like Richard, the young man. Oh, now I get it. Redress Right at redressright.com. At redressright. Okay. Oh, now I get it. Oh, that sounds. Okay. That young man was letting you all know that he could focus, but sometimes the beat got him bobbing his head, and right now I'm bobbing my head to absolutely not. Well, let's get back to this. Many people were of the understanding that they were to send their bills and everything to the Treasury, to the Secretary of State, to the Treasurer's office in their state, to the governor in their state, that they were to send their bills to everybody and their grandfather. Well, we've already shown you where you are the owner of the estate, and the estate has a trustee assigned to it. The trustee's office is located no other place than the bankruptcy court building. That's where you find the trustees. Well, who's my trustee? You don't worry about who your trustee is. You send it to the director of that office so that he can send it to the trustee. Notice the principals, notice the agent. Come on now, keep up with me. Alright? And you send him your bills and you tell him you need these discharged immediately, and that he is to send you a full accounting. They're going to balk. They're not going to want to do it. And then, as soon as they don't do it, you file a notice of pending lawsuit in your nearest court, or a miscellaneous filing. This is notice of intent to sue. That's all you're doing. Notice of pending lawsuit is also a notice of intent to sue. Okay? You're letting them know what your intentions are, because you didn't do what I told you to do. Oh, and by the way, when you do your notice of intent to sue, you're going to get a subpoena, 3 of them. You can get 15 subpoenas. You're going to put your name, it already has the court's name on there, and you're going to put the party whom it's against, all of them, or etc. all. The first name in the caption of the case, or the first name in the title of the case, being you versus them. You put the first name of that party, being the United States or whoever it is you're bringing the case against, and you put etc. all, ECT, comma, AL. Well, ECT, period, comma, AL, period, comma. That simply means everyone and anyone else named in a complaint. And you can always do an addendum to the complaint and add more names. But anyway, we're just going to work on just filing the complaint against the United States, against the United States trustees, against whomever else it is, and you want to put the EIN numbers for them as well in the document, okay, in your suit. You're going to put their EIN because you're going to sue them as a corporation in their corporate capacity and in their non-government capacity. because they're claiming to represent the United States government while they're constantly engaging in commerce. That's illegal. Okay? She already told us absolutely not. It's illegal. Okay, let's go back to explaining to you guys what's going on and how you're going to do everything. Once you got the notice of pending lawsuit and you get the subpoenas, and the subpoenas you get from the clerk, you just tell them I need 6 subpoenas. And I need them with the court stamp. I need the subpoenas in blank. And blank simply means you don't have to put anything else on it other than the case number and the name of the parties. Okay, that's where you see the caption of the case. So it's in the first top section where the names and the case number goes. And you're going to use your form or their form. It's okay, it doesn't matter. Don't argue with them. Don't let them try to tell you you can't do it. Because that's what they like to tell you guys, that you can't do it. They're not telling you can't do it. What they're saying is, well, I hope you believe me when I say you can't do that. That's what they're saying. Because you just have to rebut the presumption, oh yes, I can do this. As a matter of fact, it's acknowledged in law that I can give a notice of pending lawsuit. And because it's a notice of pending lawsuit and there's a case number assigned to it, I have the right to subpoena information to prepare for the lawsuit to see if there's enough evidence for me to bring forth the lawsuit. So, can I get my subpoenas now, please? And if they don't give you subpoenas, then you go to the other court, either federal or state. So if you're in the state court trying to get it and they won't give it to you, you go to the federal court. And then you file a lawsuit against that clerk and the clerk's office in the federal court. And you can add all the other names, and then you serve notice on them. Have a friend go with you to that office, or you mail it to that office under priority mail with the tracking label. You don't have to send certified mail anymore, y'all. The post office is recognized, acknowledged, and known to be debt collectors. Not debt collectors, sorry, wrong word. Wrong part of the commission. They're known to be process service. So they serve subpoenas and everything else. Okay? So when you do all of this, now you get them to... Sorry, I tore a piece of string off of the chair that I'm in. One of the Walmart chairs that you get to sit in, unfold, and fold it back up and carry it in its own little pouch. Well, I tore a string off and I was going to let it fly out of my hand because of the wind. And then I remember I have a policy that I've had going on for the better part of my life, that I don't litter. If at all possible, I don't litter. If something flies out of my hand and I can't catch up to it or chase after it, then I have to pick up 10 other pieces of litter to make up for the one that I dropped. That's my policy. So I don't like picking up 10 pieces, so I have to really change what I allow to fly out of my hand. Understand? Why? Because I'm responsible for my actions. And according to Revelation, the 11th chapter, verse 18, there's going to be a reckoning with those who are destroying the earth, those who are ruining the earth. There's going to be a reckoning, and I firmly and fully believe that. So I do my part so that that scripture does not apply to me. Okay? Alright, let's get back to telling you all what's going on with this, because it is necessary for you to get an understanding. Okay? So, now when you do that, you file a notice of pending lawsuit, you serve them a copy. Now you go back to bankruptcy court and you file your proof of claim with the clerk of the court. You see, they're making you pay these filing fees, but then after you pay the filing fees, they're charging the estate again. That's double jeopardy. They can't charge you, the owner of the estate, and then charge you again as the owner of the estate when they process the paperwork, and tap into the estate and receive funds for their fees and services as bounty hunters. 14th Amendment. Double taxation. Can't do that, people. But nobody's been bringing these arguments up. Why? Because they didn't think of it this way. Well, yeah, I thought of it that way 85 years ago, and now I'm 112, and I just can't bring... Yeah, whatever. No, for real. Whatever. It could be 5 real or 7 real. Doesn't matter. Don't care. Alright, let's get back to things. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you're going to do next. Now that you got your notice of pending lawsuit, and now that you're in bankruptcy court and you're filing your suit in bankruptcy court against the estate, you want to do the following. In your petition in bankruptcy court, you want to demand equity. After you demand equity, then you want to demand to have minors' disabilities removed so you can move about freely, so you can have access to all of your funds, your money, your estate, because that's what they're trying not to give you access to, is all of that. And then, after you do that, then you're going to sit up there and put in there that you deny infancy, that you want minors' disabilities removed, that you want the estate, you want there to be a full and complete audit provided to you immediately with references and note ledgers so that you can read, because they put technical terms and things and codes in there so that you don't know what they mean and they know what they mean. So you want note and reference ledgers so that you can understand what's going on. And after you do that, and you get your understanding and you get your audit, then you want to push for liquidation of the estate and termination of the estate due to the fraud that has been perpetuated on your estate.
Well, how is it fraud?
Well, remember, no contract is valid if fraud is involved. Since the United States government cannot engage in commercial activity and still be United States government or their agencies, when they decided not to let you have access to your account, and they did so claiming that they were government when they weren't government, they committed fraud. When they denied you access to maintenance and education after you reached a certain age because you had attained the age of maturity and you decided, I don't want to leave my master, I loves it, my master, so please pin my ear to the wood and pin my ear to the door, and I'll become yours forever. You can remain subject to the United States corporation for as long as you want. That's your choice. You have the right to make that choice. But they're supposed to pay you for education and maintenance. That's your trade-off. But they are not doing that. No, they're making things harder on you by making you go out there not only to look for a job when they're cutting the jobs, making life more difficult, but they're raising prices on food, gas, water, and all of this. But they can't do that because they're using the estate to provide those services for you, and then they're making you pay for the services that they're providing by means of your estate. So again, you're being double taxed again. But people are not bringing up these arguments, and they're not little arguments. This is just the way it is. This is what they're doing. All right. Now we know that you have to deny infancy, you have to ask for minors' disabilities to be removed, and you have to let them know that you've reached the age of majority. Now, how can you prove that you've reached the age of majority? Well, you introduce into the record the birth certificate. The birth certificate is evidence of such reaching the age of majority. And when you enlisted, signed up for the armed services, registered with the armed services, you men, at the age of 18, you're required to do that. Well, technically you're not required, but many of you did that. You were letting them know that you were a man, that you have attained the age of majority. Why? Because you made it a part of the public record. Then when you filled out the application for the Social Security card, you made it a matter of the private record. But you published it in the record. Okay, see, they require publishing. So you're going to give them their publishing. You're going to tell them how you publish. Okay? And when you applied for a driver's license or a state ID, when you did the declaration of executorships and you placed that on the public record, all of that was proof of your having attained the age of maturity. Okay? That's how you rebut their presumptions. That's how you rebut whether or not they're doing what's in the best interest of the estate, by simply saying, wait, hold on. If it's my estate, then that means that you're supposed to be doing what's in my best interest, because my best interest is the interest of the estate, since I am the state incarnate. Without me, the estate does not exist. So, do harm to me, you do harm to the estate. Ergo, they must do whatever is necessary to protect the interests of the estate. Well, you are the estate in reality. And so any harm to you is harm to the estate, which means they're not doing their job. That's how you rebut their presumption. You're going to have to listen to that again, some of you, because you're not going to get it right away. But if you listen to it again and you go over the document at http:// CFR dot share. For the number 4 share. SHARE. Not Sonny and Cher, but share.com. So css.forshare.com. You see, I want to say Foursquare because, you know, Foursquare. But I can't. I have to say forshare.com. The site is now available for anyone and everyone to go there and pull up these documents, the CJS forms. And I'll show you how well things have gone, so that those of you who have been paying attention, it's not a coincidence that I was permitted to understand this information. When others were out there, they were bringing up bits and pieces, but they weren't giving anybody any clear direction on how to achieve any type of satisfaction as far as the system is concerned. Those of you who are out there who are hearing me talk about the infant estate, the age of majority, please, you're going to have to understand one thing, the same thing I had to do. You got to get rid of all that junk that was in your head before. All of the junk that you've seen in all of the videos, because it is junk. Because some of it applied, but it didn't apply in every situation. And it didn't apply to those who had attained to the age of majority. Now here's the way it's supposed to work. Once you attain the age of majority, you are supposed to be recognized by the court, and the court is supposed to issue a decree, order, and or judgment to that effect. Once that happens, then you are out of the matrix, as it were. Why? Because you're no longer an infant, so you don't get to be a ward of the court ever again. Don't believe me? Go and look up the definition for ward, and look at how one becomes a ward of the court. When you step into that court and give that court jurisdiction, and the court now assumes jurisdiction over you, you become a ward of the court. That's why they can put you in jail. But once you attain the age of majority, you cannot go back to being an infant. It is impossible. For notice what Nicodemus said in John, the 3rd chapter. How can one be born again? He cannot enter into the womb of his mother again, can he? You see, you can never go back to being an infant. Well, a person with dementia goes back to being an infant? Nope. Sorry, a person with dementia goes back to being someone with a handicap and needing to be cared for. That's not the same as an infant. That's an individual with a disability. Okay, it's a completely different category, completely different class of diagnoses when it comes to this gaining control. Once you gain control of your securities, that means you have control of everything. So you don't have to threaten anybody anymore. You just simply say, this is what I need you to do. I need you to return this to me, this to me, this to me. And you should be able to literally go out, put your signature on a document, and obtain a home with no payments due. Why? Because they take that signature, which is the signature of the former estate, and they now pay for the home. Don't you guys don't, well see, in that case, they don't pay for the home, you do. Sorry, I gotta correct that. You pay for it at that point because the government is no longer your trustees. You've terminated the account, so they're no longer the trustees.
Well, we don't have to terminate the account, do we?
Nope, you don't have to terminate it. You can still allow them to be trustees, and you can still receive your maintenance and your education. But I say, why? The estate is worth more than a couple of houses and a couple of cars and blah 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 blah. Okay? This is what I believe everybody was talking about, the stupid black card. Remember, when they took, it's called the Gold Repeal Act, or HJR 193, or 192, excuse me, or the June 5th and 6th Act of 1933, otherwise known as the Gold Repeal Act. When they took gold out of the economy, they did that because everybody else was taken out of the economy. Why? Because they were all infants. They were all infants, so there was no need to use money anymore. An infant doesn't have any constitutional rights to use money. An infant doesn't have any constitutional rights at all. That's why they keep violating the Constitution, because the people don't have constitutional rights. Now, when we did the Declaration of Executorship, you guys don't know how precious and priceless that was. The Declaration of Executorship was perfecto. Why? Why was it perfect? The Declaration of Executorship was filed on a public record by many of us, and it lists that we were men and women. That didn't say we were male and female. No, it said we were men and women. And as I told you, remember, they cannot coin the phrase men or women or man or woman. That's not theirs. They don't get to touch that. Okay? Those documents said that. We were announcing to them who we were, that we were sentient and mature and have obtained the age of maturity. And we're going to say in our book, maturity and majority are interchangeable in this particular instance. And that was what I was referencing when I said I had reached the age of maturity or maturity. And what's the other age of stupidity? No, the age of majority and the age of maturity. Okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I said we were going to try to explain this to you a little bit better so you guys can better understand and grasp what's going on. It started about 10 months ago. Well, no, it actually started a year and a month ago, so we're going on 13 months ago. I received a copy of Corpus Juris Secundum, which talked about the United States being a corporation and while engaging in commercial business. So I actually pulled that out of the 2013 documentation in Corpus Juris Secundum, and I pulled out the thing on the infant estate. Now in the infant estate it talks about emancipation. Let me give you guys a little history of emancipation. Everybody knows that when what's his name, Lincoln, did the Emancipation Proclamation, that it did not free the slaves. Everybody knows that the Emancipation Proclamation did not free the slaves. Oh wait, you didn't know that? Oh, well now you do. Now you can catch up to the rest of us. Now hurry up! You gotta start running because we're so far ahead of you. It is my opinion that the Emancipation Proclamation was brought about because the people found out that they were being classified as infants and weren't going to stand for that no more. We're not going to tolerate that no more. We're not going to deal with that no more. Now look, I'm going to stop for just a second and then we're going to get back to the Emancipation Proclamation, okay? There's one of the commissioners, he told me about this thing called earthing. Earthing. So, earthing. Or, I would refer to it as grounding. Grounding. Because that was my understanding when he first said the word to me. I basically understood what he was talking about. And basically, it is that each of you should do this. He talked about wet cement, dirt, grass, sand, that you literally take your shoes off and just ground yourself to the ground. Dirt, grass, sand, wet cement. No asphalt. Sorry, asphalt's not ground. Well, no, it's not his fault. I said asphalt. See, you see what I have to do with? Anyway, let's get back to this. He tells me that a lot of people have seen drastic improvements in their health. When I say drastic, I don't mean over a 2-month course. I mean over several months. They start to notice changes when it comes to their health. Now, this is not a one-shot cure-all, but I've been talking to you guys the whole time, sitting up here watching the water. Got the wind blowing, got the waves coming on in. I'm not sitting on the dock of the bay, but I'm sitting by a bay called San Juan Bay. Anyway, and as I'm watching the waves roll in, I realized that I left a good home in Georgia and headed for the San Juan Bay. I'm sorry, that was Ike and Tina Turner. Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. Anyway, and it was a little bit of Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay, mixed into the two. Let's get back to emancipation, alright, shall we? Alright, I believe that the Emancipation Proclamation, again, was to free those who were adults, who found out about the fact that they were being treated as if they were minor and infants, and that's where the greenbacks came from, to compensate those individuals. Okay? And then we had this other thing that went on at the exact same time. What was that? We had the ending of that conflict and that idiot getting shot in his head, where his brains landed all over Mrs. Onassis. That was a shame that he left her like that. But I wonder what his last thought was. I didn't see that coming. Anyway, alright. What's happening is my thinking on all of this is that was what the 13th Amendment was for. Because being held as an infant, once one passes the age of majority, it has to be a choice. And they're saying that they give you a choice in every statute. It gives you a certain period of time, and for which all of you don't do it, and you violate the statute of limitation. That's why I said you 18, 19, and 20-year-olds should have no problem going and letting them know, publicizing it in the paper, and going down to equity court and telling them you're there to have your declaration of majority attainment filed on the record, and to receive control over your estate, accounts, trusts, assets, properties. You're going to have to go back over all of that again, because I just explained what you should be doing, and I'm not going to keep explaining it. I've done it on 3 different videos so far now. This is what you need to do.
Well, what about us who's 50 years old, 70 years old, and 81 years old, and even that guy who's 112 years old? What about all of us?
Well, you do the same thing, but then you bring fraud. You tell them that the statute of limitation does not commence to run because there was fraud involved with your not being recognized as one who had attained to the age of majority. Why? Because they interfered with you gaining access to your account. You did everything that you were required to do. You went and got a driver's license, placing it on a public record. And you used that driver's license continually, showing everybody not only your age, that you had attained the age of majority, but you also had a certificate of live birth which proved that, and then you have the assignment of the securities through the Social Security Administration, which also documented the fact that you had passed the age of majority. And as I made sure I mentioned the last time, I don't celebrate birthdays, but many of you do celebrate birthdays, and you usually have people who are there with you to witness your attaining to the age of majority again and again and again and again, which keeps the statute of limitations rolling.
Well, no, you can't do that. They say a certain age, and that's when it starts.
No, because fraud was involved. They claim to be representing the trustee of your estate. They're not representing the trustee position of the estate, because they're not managing your affairs in your best interest. They're actually violating your best interest, but they have a mandate, a duty of care to do what's in your best interest, because without you, the state doesn't exist. And because you are the state incarnate or in real life, they have harmed you by not giving you what's your due, which is your maintenance and education. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to perfect that argument, but that's going to be your argument. Okay?
Well, what do I do if they say no?
If they say no, then you appeal it to the next court. And you do just like I said about putting whoever says no, whoever interferes, you put them on notice by putting them in a notice of pending lawsuit. You just do an addendum of your notice of pending lawsuit. Now, so that you don't have to send the copy to everybody, you only have to send it to 1 or 2 people. When you file your notice of pending lawsuit, you do it against the United States through the Attorney General's office. Or you do it through the office of the Administrative Office of the United States Courts, because they control all the courts. Okay? So I would suggest you send it to the Attorney General, because he is the General Attorney for the entire United States. Okay, so when you send it to him, notice the principals, notice the agent, notice principal. That way you don't have to send a copy to everyone, because supposedly they all are represented by the idiots who take that office. What you mean I'm gonna get in trouble because I call these idiots idiots? Nope, not gonna get in trouble because I call the idiots idiots. I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm letting you guys know this information they've been hiding from you. This has been going on for over 200 years, people. They continue to do this. That's why every nation has pretty much an act of the age of majority, or the age of majority act. Why? Because they needed to figure out a way how to get around the stupidity that's caused by the bankers and their predecessors' ignorance. This is the system. This is what they're doing. So all of that other junk, people are going into court and saying, you guys can keep saying that stuff if you want. Go right ahead. I told you, I've already tested it all out. I said all of that on purpose. I even told them after I said it. When they ordered me for a psych evaluation because I said the court was a corporation, I told them, oh no, I said that because we needed to know for sure. But I can prove you're a corporation. And so I'm going to subpoena the presiding judge of this court and have her bring in the financials. They didn't give me one subpoena after I told them what I was going to do with the subpoenas. So you don't want to tell them what you're going to do with the subpoenas. You just need to tell them you're going to send it to the county recorder's office and the county treasurer so that they can pull up an audit of the account to show what's going on. Okay, you don't have to tell them who the subpoenas are going out to because it's under Rule 17 under the Federal Rules of Procedures Act. I'm sorry, that's the Federal Criminal Rules of Procedure. It's under Rule 17. For subpoenas on a civil procedures, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Maybe not the same section, but it's going to say pretty much the same wording because the subpoena is a subpoena. Well, no, one's criminal, one's, what's the other one? It's all civil, dummy. Yeah, one's civil and one's criminal. No, it's all civil. What do you mean, they got split personalities? Civil? Man, I seen that movie. Yeah, she was stupid and crazy, yeah, right? Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have to deal with all day. Be glad you guys don't have to deal with this. Mama, that man went to jail and look at how he turned out. I don't ever want to go to jail if I'm going to act like him. Nope, 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 nope. I will kill myself before I let the police take me to jail. Okay. This is what I have to deal with. All I can tell all of you is this grounding thing. I gotta subscribe to it. I have not been this relaxed since I came to Puerto Rico. Not even when I was laying up in my hammock. I honestly gotta tell you that this junk worked. I told you all that my body doesn't relax and I'm taking my hand off the microphone because I'm holding it up, but I don't see the veins in my arms popping up like they've been doing the last couple of days. So I gotta subscribe and I gotta tell all of you. When he told me about it, I understood what he was saying. And we notice that in certain cultures, even here in Puerto Rico, people walk with their shoes off and socks off. Yes, I'm sitting up here in moss. I'm walking on moss. A lot of it. And I'm comfortable. I'm actually kicking it here with the water and moss, and I told myself this is going to be my hangout. And I'll probably sit here for about 2 good hours every day. I don't have a problem with this. I'll probably sit here for a couple hours every day, and I'll also probably be doing the videos from here. So with the videos, you'll probably have the wind noise from the wind, but we're just going to have to live with that. There's no shelter here to get in away from the rain, but for the most part, this ain't bad, y'all. Now, we talked about the infinite state. We talked about gaining control of your securities. We talked about how to go into bankruptcy court and gain. Oh, we got to talk about those of you who are above the age of 18 who haven't done it. Again, you have to rebut the presumption. So in your affidavit, declaration, do a declaration. Forget the affidavit part. Just simply do a declaration. You don't need it notarized. A declaration, it just needs to have you swear that and attest that everything in it is accurate. So help you God. Because that's what the lawyers do. They make declarations and attest, so help them God. Okay, just that simple. And they don't use a notary. So you don't need a notary. Okay? Look, there's a lot more information coming here, but this video and the last one, I'm actually giving you all the information you need for this. Look, sorry about that dry air and allergies. Somebody had to figure this out. Now, other people have figured it out. The only problem is they kept it to themselves or to their small groups, and they wouldn't tell anybody else. Why wouldn't they tell you all? Why were they keeping this a secret from you all? Well, I say that the nations, the presidents, the leaders, the bankers, they all knew that eventually one day you would figure it out because they figured it out in the past, so they knew that you would figure it out again in the future. Okay, that's why they kept throwing all that other junk out there to delay when it would be figured out. But they knew that the one would have to show up. Now, am I saying I'm the one? No, I'm saying I'm that N-I-G-G crooked letter A. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Sorry, I put that in one of the videos that I was doing, that I am the N-I crooked letter A. Okay? That's who I am. So, I am only here to say, if anybody was going to figure this out and tell it to everybody, it was going to be me.
Oh, you're trying to say you can't keep a secret?
No, what I'm saying is that I'm not here to take advantage of any of you. I don't want your monies. But what I do want you to do is to show appreciation for the information to the commission. They need donations because they have been surviving all of this time without payment for their services, their free services. They're a non-profit organization, but they're not getting paid any money from any government or any other organization. They don't do fundraisers and fund drives and all of this stuff. So if you guys are going to achieve minority, then majority status, look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, did they not tell it to us in that stupid movie? The Minority Report? Why was it a report? Go back and look at that movie, because I can't think of all the scenes in the movie. I just know Tom Cruise is in it. But the Minority Report, what was the report all about? Then you got 1984, and you got 1954, and you got all these times where men were treated a certain way, and then we have the movie 1984, and we see the reality of that. I'm watching a seagull, and the wind is blowing, and I'm watching the seagull he's not moving one step forward. The wind is actually keeping him. No, it isn't. The wind's not keeping him from anything. He's looking for fish. So he's actually staying in one spot on purpose. He's looking for food. Here I was thinking the wind was blowing him back and he was fighting against the wind, but no, he's doing what he's doing on purpose. Isn't it unique what instinct does for these creatures? Well, when we talk, I watched the movie Instinct with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Donald Sutherland. Like I told you guys, I met his son, and his son, that idiot is a piece of work. Okay? I met that man the same day I met Paula Abdul and Lionel Richie. And Lionel was actually trying to flirt with Paula, and like everybody around didn't know that. And Kiefer, I was security at the Shrine Auditorium for the Grammys. No. Was it the Grammys or the Academy? No, these were the Grammys. There were more singers there than actors. But Kiefer wanted to go out the door that I was guarding to take a smoke. I told him no. He says, "You don't know who I am?" I said, "Yeah, you're my favorite actor. I know exactly who you are. But my job is to make sure nobody goes out this door. And that includes you." So he went and he talked to my supervisor and he said, "Let him go." And I let him go. But it was the way he went about doing it. You don't get to do that to me. You don't get to show me up after I tell you something. So I have no respect. Ain't that right, Aretha? Aretha Franklin? If you guys can't hear the song, I can hear it. You know, she's saying that I'm all she needs to get by. Man, Now, I am all she needs to get by. I guess she doesn't need a lot to get by, huh? No, sorry. I have a lot more credit for myself and respect for myself than that. I mean, she needs a whole lot to get by if I'm all she needs. Because that's a lot. And that's why she sings the song the way she does. Ladies, gentlemen and ladies, I hope that the music is playing in the background because I'm doing this for my cell phone and I'm using a software known as Tape a Talk. It can be found on the market. And like I said, I hope the music is in the background because I think we're going to change the way people know things. Now, I'm doing all of this talking because I've been helping a lot of the people in the commission come to a better understanding again of things. But I'm going to have to get off of this because I'm going to have to start winding down. I have to help put together a motion for bankruptcy court for someone. And I don't have to really say much, but I want to hammer these idiots in their head.
When are you going to do bankruptcy? Why you haven't filed bankruptcy?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going down to the bankruptcy court tomorrow. That's right. And I'm going to get the forms for filing as a creditor. And as soon as I do it, I'm going to tell each one of you how to do it. I'm going to test the system first, just like I did the prison system. I tested it. Why? Because I don't want you guys suffering. I'm not testing it to get ahead of you. Look, I don't care about being rich. I'm already rich. I have a relationship with Jehovah, and I have a relationship with his son, the Christ, or the Archangel, or Jesus. I have a relationship with them. I'm far richer than anyone else on this planet. And I'm very proud that I think of them all the time. I'm very proud that I listen to them all the time. I have the Bible on audio and I let it play all night while I'm asleep. So I'm constantly thinking of my God and his son. So I'm already rich. I don't need the money. I don't care for the money. I'm here in Puerto Rico staying at the Salvation Army homeless shelter.
Wait a minute. Why are you staying at a shelter? You can't afford a hotel. You can't afford a house. What's wrong with you?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm staying at a shelter by choice. Not because I have to, but it's my choice. I don't mind being there. I don't have a problem. Plus, we have a shelter that less than 50 feet in one direction and a half, about 5 blocks in another direction, there's a beach. I can come and do what I'm doing now. If I was staying at a hotel, I wouldn't be able to have this. There'd be so many, well, they charge an arm and a leg. This is springtime, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to keep the spending down, but since I've gotten out, I have had to spend more than almost $2,000 in 3.5 months. That shouldn't be. But that's how expensive this place can be. I just saw something come out of the water, but I can't tell you what it was. But I definitely saw it come out of the water. It wasn't the Loch Ness Monster, but it was definitely something that jumped out of the water and went back down. It went down slowly, and I don't think it's a shark or anything, you know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you thank you for allowing us here at the Legal Redress Commission. Yes, I'm still tagging the name for the commission because I want you to understand that information will be continually provided by them to help you to have remedy. That's all this is about. I don't want you to go and set up your own companies to where you can make money off your neighbor doing this for them. I want you to teach them first, and if they don't have the time to be taught, and be honest with them, if they don't have the time to be taught, you'll do the paperwork for them. You'll do the process for them because they're going to give you a limited power of attorney to do it for them. They can do that. They have the authority to do that. Okay? They have the authority and the right to do that. So you give them a limited power of attorney, and they do the paperwork for you. You've just now hired them as your agent. You've just now authorized them to deal with the affairs of the estate. Go ahead and look at Corpus Juris Secundum that we put up there for you on the infant estate. you'll see that that's exactly what you have the power to do. You have the authority to authorize someone to act in the interest of your estate. That's what all the fine print on the government documents are. You giving them the authority to act as your principal. But see, people like me, I've done the reserving my rights, and I've canceled all adhesion contracts. I've voided all such agreements. So now I go after them for fraud because they've been continually going into my account, and I told them to stay out of my stuff. Get out of my business. Leave my business alone. My business is not public, it's private. You're interfering with my private business, and I will not stand for that. Now people say, well, the courts are not just going to let you do this. I'm not concerned about the courts, ladies and gentlemen. I know this information that I'm giving you these last couple of years. I know this information because of Jehovah, not because of them. I've already told you all about the story. The lives and eventful story about me dying on an operating table because of muscular dystrophy, being allergic to anesthesia, having a body temperature of greater than 126, being dead for 18 minutes. Okay? The doctor saying that my blood was boiling. That if the blood was boiling, doesn't that mean my brain was boiling because the blood rushes to the head through arteries? So can you imagine all the damage that was done? So, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that going on, and having to teach myself how to read again, and don't take this the wrong way, any of you, because I don't say this because I am sarcastically stuck on myself. I say it because, hey, Chubby, tell them what's going on. Chub Rock. So, I'm sorry, oh, this is, Tevin Campbell's just asked me to, and Chub Rock, many of you may or may not remember Chub Rock when he came out, but Chub Rock was on fire during that time, and he got with Tevin Campbell and did this song, and so it's alright. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am the smartest person I know. I don't say that as a pat on my back. I say that because it saddens me, and it really does sadden me greatly. If I'm the smartest person I know after all I've been through, what does that say about everyone else? Something's not right, people. All of you should be so far ahead of me. You shouldn't be listening to me and gaining understanding of anything. I should be listening to you and gaining understanding from you. Yes, I know it is my God who has allowed me to have the knowledge that I have and that I can retain. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't remember what I did earlier today, and I don't remember what I did yesterday. I have to think about it to be able to tell you what I did. Yeah, I know I went up to the college today, but I can't tell you exactly what I did. Oh, that's right, I downloaded the Boondocks. Boondocks! Some of you know what the Boondocks is all about. And I downloaded a couple of Fringe, and there's one more. I think Fringe, and a couple other series that I haven't seen in a while. I was supposed to type in Burn Notice and download the final season because I didn't get to see the final season of Burn Notice. But I will, what's his name, Michael West? Yeah, I will download the final season of Burn Notice because I watched me some Burn Notice. And Continuum I can't find, and Leverage. Those are the shows I watch. And I watch them on computer. I do not have a television. Don't like television. I have a computer and I watch everything on computer. I bought several televisions in the last couple of years and I've given them all away right after buying them. Which means that I didn't need to buy them, but I figured things this way. The person I gave it to needed it more than I did. Because they didn't have a TV, or the TV was small, or the TV was, you know, they had to use two TVs. You guys know the people who have to use two TVs? Yeah, one for their wife, one for the husband? No, because one of them only has sound, the other one has picture. Well, that's what they were doing, even in this day and age. So I gave them my TV. I even went here in Puerto Rico. You know, you can buy a dish TV, not dish TV, dish satellite dish, and a DirecTV satellite dish, and get the services for $19 a month. The basic services, you get your own dish. And you do your own setting it up and everything. And all you do is call them up and say, hey, here's my account. And literally, you get to pay your monthly services through a card that you go and you purchase at one of their kiosks that are in just about every store here. I was going to bring mine back to the United States with me and have DirecTV, but ladies and gentlemen, I don't watch TV like that. See, in order for me to have cable, I have to find something that's on that I want to watch. I don't want to find anything that's on that I want to watch. I want to watch what I want to watch when I want to watch it. I don't want to have to find something to watch, because that would mean that I'm not doing anything. That would mean I'm bored. So I don't care to watch a lot of TV. Every night I may watch 2 shows, 2 television shows or a movie and a half, because I have 2.5 years of movies to catch up on. Okay, so I just mentioned I saw Instinct. Sorry, I was supposed to be talking about Donald Sutherland and Cuba Gooding Jr. and The Bird. Well, the movie Instinct, about Donald Sutherland, its character living in Africa and living amongst the apes. I actually like the premise of that. You know, I like the premise, so I like the movie. I like the way it was done. And Cuba, there was a little bit of overacting, but for the most part, his acting is improving, and I give Cuba Gooding Jr. a little bit of credit. When he first came out, I didn't like him. There was just something about Cuba that I didn't like, but his life does not revolve around my liking him or not liking him. But his acting over the last couple of years has won my respect. And he wasn't trying to win my respect, because I never met the man. But let's just say I have respect for the man. And I honestly have respect for Cuba Gooding Jr. And now I know why he's Junior, because his father was Papa Gooding from Ray Goodman and Brown. And I used to listen to Ray Goodman and Brown all the time. They sang a bunch of songs that still hang on to here in my memory, because I grew up listening to it as a child. And when I do, if you're not hearing the music in the background here, then that's the music I'm going to be putting in the background in the video. Ray Goodman and Brown, be adding them to the mix. We'll be adding Aerosmith. We'll be adding quite a few different genres to the mix. They're already on there now, but there's more. What people would refer to is rhythm and blues, but I like the soul word. Soul music. I more appreciate soul music, because that's what explains it more. Rhythm and blues? Sorry, we don't do blues anymore. Rhythm? Okay. Walking in rhythm. So we do rhythm, but we don't do blues as much. But soul music? Hey, during the 70s and 80s, everybody knew what soul music was. They did that whole thing, the soul train, okay? Soul music has its own texture. And so I understand soul music. And so that's all I'm doing, is putting together soul music. Now, look, your average white band, and we got Kenny G, and we got Michael McDonald. We got so many people, even Aerosmith and all of them. We got so many of these that were listened to by the culture that invented the modern genre of soul music, that are not part of that group. Let's just say this: they deserve a lot of credit, because they were able to put out music that crossed the so-called boundaries, the preventative boundaries. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I did say I was going to bring this to a close. There is not much more that I need to add. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Tape Talk, and I'm going to let you know that we've been talking, for an hour. 19 more seconds, and it'll be, well, no, actually, 40 more seconds, it'll be an hour. So, since I've been sitting here with my shoes off, what I'm going to do, it tells me that it hasn't been recording, but it says no recordings. Press record button to start recording. But it says recording. I'm looking right at it, and I'm looking at the seconds tick off. So, look, I'll speak to all of you in due time. Have a good day, have a good night, have a good everything, but whatever you do, may it be good. Be good.